we have another 30 minutes coming up, and it's from someone who's been part of the WordPress community since 2009. She started as a front-end engineer building themes for major clients. She went on to co-found a successful WordPress agency in Switzerland. And since then, she's spoken at multiple WordCamps, including her first one back in 2013 in my country, in Leiden, WordCamp Europe. And she helped organize WordCamp Switzerland. Wow. She cares deeply about user-friendly design and company culture, lectures at the universities on UX and new work. And when she's not working, she's out mountain biking across the Alps or exploring Europe in her camper van. All right, this is Karen. She also brought her developer Dominic Schilling along for her post-talk tech deep dives. So if you got detailed questions, catch them at the WordCamp Cafe right after this session, because Karen doesn't have any Q&A sessions right after the talk. So please welcome Karen Christen. I said Christensen earlier, and she's going to talk about how to keep your head while going headless with WordPress. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I always knew what I wanted to become, even at a young age. I wasn't really interested in school, except for sports. Sports was my strong subject. Everything else, let's say, room for improvement. But in sports, I always got the best grade you could have. In Switzerland, that's a 6. So it should have been obvious, right? I should do something with sport as a profession. Mountain bike professional, for example, because I'm a very passionate mountain biker. But no one ever pointed that out to me, not even my gym teacher. And he knew how passionate I was. But I had a different dream. At the age of 12, I knew I wanted to do something creative, something with computers. Back then, I was totally focused on becoming a typographer, someone who designs or arranges type. Nobody told me there were more jobs out there that combined creativity and tech. Not even my career counselor. So in the end, I landed an apprenticeship as a business administrator, using a typewriter instead of designing typo. I know, not exactly creative, but that was the only thing I could get. If only there had been a place where I could explore these professions, a platform with inspiration, tips, filters, and comparisons, made for young people. But in the 90s, finding information wasn't that easy. We had to rely on people around us. My career path would have been way more straightforward if I had the information. Today, I'm UX designer and managing director, doing exactly what I always dreamed of. Combining design and technology to create digital products that make a difference. This talk is divided in half design and half tech. I want to show you how we designed a web application for career choice, how we built the web app using Headless WordPress and the REST API, and our lessons learned, and some tips you can apply in your own project. If you'd like to dive deeper into anything I shared today, feel free to check out my blog post. You'll find the slides and more background on the project and the tech setup. So let's begin with our design decisions. Let me introduce you to the career choice portal of the Canton Zurich. A web application that brings everyone together. Teachers from over 350 schools who use the web app in their classroom. Career counselors from different information centers use the platform to prepare for the sessions to give better guidance. Companies who manage their open apprenticeships within the platform. Parents can inform themselves about the career choice topic to support their children through the process. And most importantly, young people at any age get tips, tools, and inspiration to find their own way. Because no one should have to navigate their future alone. That's why the Career Choice Portal is such a crucial tool. In Switzerland, most young people don't go straight to university. Over 60% choose the apprenticeship path, learning a profession while working in a real company, and often continuing with higher education later in life. So, before I go on, let me ask you some quick questions. Who here lives in Switzerland? Nice, quite a few. And who did an apprenticeship? Okay. Yeah, I know these guys. Who studied later in life, maybe after working for a while? Yeah. And that's the beauty of the system, right? In Switzerland, you don't have to choose one path forever. You can start hands-on experience and still go to university later in life. That's how I did it. The challenge? There are so many options to choose from. There are 300 different professions, 6,000 apprenticeships from 25,000 companies. Some professions are well known, others not at all. And if you don't know someone in that field, good luck finding the right one. That's where orientation becomes hard, where students could lose their head. And that's exactly where the Career Choice platform comes in. By helping young people discover their options, not just the ones their friends, parents, or teacher already know. The platform offers a tool to reflect. Should I rather continue with school, or should I start an apprenticeship? Not only can students read about this topic on the blog, there's also a self-assessment that gives them guidance based on their interests, learning style, and motivation. It's not a test with right or wrong. It's more like a mirror, helping them better understand what path could fit them best. To find the right profession, we use a gamified approach to spark curiosity. Instead of browsing through boring 311 list items of professions, we built a Profession Explorer feature, where they can browse through images of different professions. They don't see the job title yet, just the activity on the picture. They can swipe or click to say, yes, that looks interesting, or no, not at all. This way, they gain an unbiased first impression based on field of interest, with just intuition. After a while, they get first results of what area they might be interested. On desktop, it looks like this. For example, you see areas like design, construction, technical industry, and so on. The web app supports with this gamified approach to pre-filter professions by interest. This way, young people can follow the links and explore the profession details further. Also, in the classroom, teachers use the platform to guide their students through a formal interest test. With 9 steps and 10 questions each, it's a very long test. To keep students motivated, we've added small rewards and display the progress along the way. They see how far they've come and get orientation, how long it takes. And if someone needs a break, no problem, the platform automatically saves the progress, even without a login. So students can pick up where they left off anytime. I think you need a break too. So the result of the test is displayed as a spider chart. The chart shows different topics. Each topic has a number that shows possible interest. And by clicking on that numbered list, they get again a pre-filtered result of professions. The more the students engage with the platform, the more personalized the experience becomes. For example, through a tailored recommendation on their personal dashboard, such as matching professions or open practicas. But, and this is important, the platform doesn't lock them into one direction. It continues to suggest careers from completely different fields too, because we want young people to stay open. Sometimes the best fit is something they've never considered. The platform is designed as a compass and not a tunnel. Career choice doesn't happen alone. The platform shows an activity overview of what students have explored and completed. And with the students' consent, parents and mentors can see the progress and offer support at the right moment. This helps create better conversation and better decisions. So let's talk about how we built the platform and where all the data comes together. First, let's have a look how Switzerland works. In Switzerland, we have 26 cantons. You can think of them like mini-states. Each one runs its own show when it comes to education and public services. From the beginning, the concept of the Canton Zurich was to build features that could be shared with other cantons. So we needed a system that is modular, flexible, and future-proof. At the same time, the platform had to work offline, like a native app. That's why we chose to build a progressive web app, a website that behaves like an application in a browser, without the need installing the app on devices. The scope was ambitious and planned in multiple phases. We launched the first version in 2019, and since then, we've been continuously adding the platform with features for all target group step by step. A headless setup gave us exactly what we were aiming for, a modular, flexible architecture. WordPress acts as a structured content hub with a custom front-end who delivers a fast app-like experience. But to understand our setup, let's first take a moment to clarify the difference between a traditional and a headless content management system. With a traditional CMS, the front-end and the back-end is tightly connected. WordPress handles how it's displayed, and you would use WordPress functions, themes, and plugins directly. With Headless, however, WordPress is used only for content and user management. The front-end is fully decoupled, built with JavaScript, React, or Vue. Content is delivered via REST API, from the backend to the frontend, and vice versa. Headless is ideal for mobile apps or multiple complex frontends, like web application for different devices. Or, in our case, we built frontends for different contents with different corporate designs. So far, we've built the platform for Canton Zurich and are developing right now for the next canton. The exciting part, thanks to the headless setup, we could easily roll out more platforms for other contents using the same code base. Behind the theme, there is a lot going on. The platform brings together a huge amount of data. We store data from different APIs, and also content managers can create and update content directly in WordPress. So there are 350 schools, almost 400 career counselors, 30,000 users and growing, information centers, and many company events created directly into WordPress. The professions, more than 45,000 practicas, many events, all the apprenticeships, and more than 30,000 companies are pulled in via 5 different APIs. All of this data is stored into WordPress, so WordPress acts as a data hub. And the web app handles the look and feel of the content. So we wanted to make life easier for content managers. On the professions detail page, the structure stays stable and consistent. But editors have the freedom to add context, media, or relevant information. This keeps the user experience clean while allowing each profession to be enriched with meaningful content. Here you see the content of profession synced via external API inside the WordPress editor. This synced content stays read-only to ensure consistency with the source data. But in the sidebar, we've added custom fields that give Content Manager full control. They can enrich each profession with podcasts, videos, image, school requirements, and more. Not all content should be visible for everyone. That's why access is controlled through WordPress capabilities based on user roles. In our setup, roles and permissions are checked server-side via REST API. When a user logs in, the API returns their user role so the frontend knows exactly what kind of personalized content to display. For example, a student sees their own profile and activity. A teacher can manage the classroom. A company can get only its listings and manage that. This keeps things secure, relevant, and role-based, just like it should be. For more flexibility, control, and better performance, our stack uses custom APIs instead of standard REST endpoints. WordPress gives you the option to use its native REST API, but we chose to build our own endpoints. So we can define exactly what content is exposed and how it's delivered. This also gives Content Manager the ability to manage everything, including the navigation, without having to contact us for every small detail. That's the whole point for CMS, right? Empowering editors, not developers. Because remember, since the front-end is decoupled from the back-end, there are no built-in features like preview out of the box. For example, when writing a blog post, the front-end doesn't automatically know how to render a draft. To make previewing work, we had to build a custom preview endpoint. So the front-end knows what to display, even before the post is published. And it doesn't stop there. In a headless setup, when the WordPress menu the WordPress menu is not directly connected anymore. So we also built a custom endpoint to let editors update navigation themselves without needing us. These are the kind of things you have to consider when planning a project like this. They affect your timeline, your budget, and your architecture. On this slide, you see a comparison. On the left, WordPress native REST API. On the right, our custom endpoint, optimized to deliver exactly what we need with fewer requests. The advantage of this is that we use the native WordPress functions, for example, to enable performant image loading, as we do with the thumbnails for professions. For browser data management, we use the block editor data package. It provides pre-built tools to manage and share data even outside the WordPress admin, which makes it ideal for a WordPress web application. We use this data package to handle the data of, so far, 40 custom endpoints. It's a lot. So by now, you might be thinking, why go headless at all if you have to custom code so much? There's no preview function, not even a menu integration, so why bother? Because going headless gives us app web-like capabilities. And we made good use of them. Remember the interest test, where students can take a break and pick up where they left off? The test also works offline, thanks to service workers, just like a native app. Perfect for classroom use with unstable Wi-Fi. Or this advanced live filtering across all professions. Something that would have been very hard to build with a traditional WordPress frontend. So yes, Headless takes effort, but the user experience we can offer makes it absolutely worth it. So let's dive into the takeaways. Building a headless platform with WordPress and a custom frontend taught us a lot. Here are some of our learnings. As we learned by now, Headless is powerful, but it comes with trade-offs. One of the biggest, you're not just managing WordPress anymore, you're now responsible for two code bases, the backend and the fully decoupled frontend. In our case, we started back in 2019, and we were using Create React app to build our web app. But Create React app is now deprecated. So now we are migrating to something more modern, like React Router 7 and Read as a build tool. WordPress is relatively easy to maintain, but the frontend? Because the React ecosystem keeps evolving, keeping up is a job in itself. So be aware, Headless requires more effort, especially in terms of time. A progressive web app offers great capabilities, but it also comes with added complexities, especially around things like no out-of-the-box template functions, security, or authentication. In our experience, you'll spend at least 30% more time on a headless project compared to a traditional site. And that doesn't end once the project is live. You also need to invest more in long-term maintenance and keeping dependencies up to date. Not every shared hosting environment is ready for WordPress, for Headless, sorry. So you might need to add separate infrastructure to support Headless projects, especially if you involve a Node.js-based frontend or a build pipeline. Before you start, make sure to check whether your plugins support REST API or GraphQL. Many WordPress plugins were originally built for classic PHP themes. They often manipulate the DOM directly and rely on shortcodes to render by the theme. That means they don't work out of the box in a headless project. But don't worry. There are indeed some of the popular plugins who are headless ready. For example, Yoast SEO, Gravity Forms, Polylang, and Advanced Custom Fields. So, are you ready to start your own headless project? If so, here are a few tips to help you get off to a smoother start than we did. Use a boilerplate. If we were to start over, we'd go with a boilerplate like Head Start WP. It gives you a solid foundation. Use REST API or GraphQL. Both work depending on your needs. By installing the API plugin, for WordPress, you get GraphQL, which provides you with a great alternative for more flexible queries. Build custom endpoints. They'll save you a headache. Remember, we've used them for preview functionality and the menu, giving editors real control. Choose a modern front-end setup, one that is actively maintained and scalable. Use Workbox from the Chrome team. It makes it easy to build progressive web apps with service workers, caching, and offline support. And lastly, if you choose React for your front-end, use React DevTool and React Scan to debug smarter and stay sane along the way. Because Headless is powerful, but it's also a bit wild sometimes. We went headless in tech so that young people don't stay headless in their career choice. And hopefully, now, you won't feel headless in your next project either. Thank you.